interpretation of it. I don't know if you feel the same, but it's all a foregone conclusion. It's just now being sort of media portrayed out in a long delayed thing that'll take us through the finals.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we are live. We are live, everyone. Welcome in, everybody. It is John, Lakers Tom. We are here holding it down, man. Shout out all the Lakers Fast Break family, man. For everyone that can't and cannot be here. We are going to be just honestly nice Saturday morning, June 1st stream, getting into some Lakers news. Me and Laker Tom, real quick before we even hit the live button, we're talking a little bit about this Lakers coaching situation update. So we'll get into that. We'll get into really anything NBA centric. I know we just seen the Mavericks eliminate the Timberwolves, and now they're going to move on to the finals. And then in about like 5 days, June 6th, that's when we'll have game one of the NBA finals between the Mavericks and the Celtics. So we're here just to talk about basketball, man. For anybody in the chat, anybody that comes on here, man, go ahead, just drop anything in the chat. We're going to be fielding any questions, comments, get into whatever you guys want. But we always got to start with Lakers topics and Lakers conversation because this is the Lakers Fast Break. And I'm glad that Lakers Tom joined me, man, because there's a thing that me and Laker Tom have in common, and that is the desire or at least the acceptance of JJ Redick. So, Laker Tom, I want to get into that with you first. Talk to me. I know we were just talking a little bit off camera about that, but talk to me as to, if you had to sway someone that was not on the bring JJ Redick on board camp on, what would be your points and why are you such a big JJ Redick advocate? And I'll get into that a little bit after.
I think that the Lakers have always sort of, and it's really odd, they've always sort of undervalued what a coach brings to the whole formula of winning championships. And that's kind of idiotic when you think back of the impact of Pat Riley and Phil Jackson had on this franchise, that you would think that their main focus would be, just like they do with players, that we've won because of superstar players. We're going to go out and do everything we can get to get every superstar player we can. Well, the Lakers don't do that with the coaches, even though their history is having superstar coaches. All of those rings, except for a couple of them, have been won by superstar coaches. And we've just recycled guys in the last 7 coaches, last 6 permanent hires that we've had. So I think that who knows whether it's one of those chicken and egg situations. Did JJ just happen to come along and all of a sudden the Lakers said, wow, we have an opportunity? Or did the Lakers really go back to Coach K and develop a plan that said, okay, you guys need to find a long-term coach and you need to pay real coaching money. You can't lose coach like you lost Ty Lue because you were cheap. Or because you wanted to limit him to just LeBron's number of years. So I think that this whole focus, first off, on going for a superstar coach, regardless of whether you believe JJ is that coach or what attributes and characteristics you think qualify somebody to be one of those superstar coaches, we need a guy who's going to be like Spoelstra has been, or like Riley or Jackson were for the Lakers. And we need to invest and find a guy. And there's a reason, obviously, why there's a good, I'd say at least half of the people who are informed and speaking out about the whole subject, like JJ, is because they see that potential in him. They see the similarities with Riley, that he's a guy who came up through the media mostly. And he's got a brilliant basketball mind. And whatever conspiracy theory you buy into, LeBron and JJ creating the Mind the Game podcast during a period of time when LeBron might not have been very happy with Darvin Ham's coaching, opens up all sorts of possibilities. But the one thing it did do is sort of put a focus again on the whole strategic idea that a coach who has a brilliant mind and who has a vision of what the game is all about, who loves the game, shares that love of the game and that basketball intelligence that LeBron has. And you can see how those two guys could be really a synchronized pair, a coach on the court and a coach on the bench, that could really be something special for the Lakers. So I believe in the potential, and that's the first and most important thing. That, yeah, when you gamble on a superstar, you're taking a gamble. If you draft a guy really high, or you trade away 3 first-round picks and three swaps, you better hit gold on that pick. And the same is true with the coach. There are safer bets than JJ Redick. There certainly are safer bets, but you really got to go for it if you're the Lakers. And this is at least a change in attitude that I appreciate. The second thing about it is that you have to, in a coach like Redick, you're not looking for the experience factor. You can figure out. You can get an assistant coach or a lead associate coach who's had great experience as a head coach, or you can put him around proven assistants. Difference between being an assistant coach in the NBA or anywhere and being the head coach. And it's a whole different set of skill sets. I don't think that calling timeouts at the right time or taking care of challenges, those are basically assistant coach jobs. You got a guy on your staff that you say, you take care of every challenge, man. You get on your TV and you look at your screen, you figure out what it is, and you figure out when we should do it. Look at time and situation. Hey, Lee.
What's up?
You're bored.
LT, John.
So, anyway, I think that's the second thing that it takes leadership. It takes shrewd decision making, ability to manage personalities, ability to motivate and to criticize players. And I think JJ has that. And a lot of assistant coaches who may have all of the X and O's, know all of the X's and O's that should be done in the right situations, they may not have that ability to communicate with it. And the other side of it is, look at the guys who are really successful now, the young coach in OKC and guys that I like the idea of getting a guy who's not even 40 years old who can communicate with these young players, because believe me, they are not the same generation of players as the last generation.
There you go.
If you want to talk to them and communicate with them, then you need somebody who's in it enough to know it and close enough in age that they can relate to him. It's almost as important in my mind as having played the game. It takes a lot. You have to be an A++ coach to survive not having played the game at a high level, because there's things about that are really important about how you handle and manage the personnel.
Yes.
So, just like you, John, I'm a big JJ fan. I think it's, as we were talking before the show went on, I think they've already hired him. He's already working on his staff. They just know that JJ wants to call the finals for ESPN. It was a big plum that he won in that job, and he wants to finish that job off. And in the meantime, he can work in the background to pick his staff and to make initial decisions on what they're going to do with the staff and what direction they're going to go. I'm excited about the choices that he makes. I want to have a franchise where I believe in the general manager making the right direction. I believe in the owner making the right decisions, and I believe in the coaching staffs making the right decisions. So, part of that is I start off every session or every season like supporting the people that are doing those jobs, despite Pelinka's various mishaps, despite Darvin Ham's stupid stubbornness. You're trying to root for them because they're Lakers, and you want to, the last thing you want to do is be rooting for bad things to happen to players or your team in order for you to be right. That's the last thing any of us as fans want to do. So I'm all in on JJ.
Yes. I am right there with you, Laker Tom, and L Rob. I'm gonna bring it to you right here in a second. I just want to get to some of these points right here and some of these comments that we've gotten to, just to catch you up real quick on it, L Rob. I mean, I'm sure you caught up, but we're just talking about JJ Redick, and me and Laker Tom are big advocates of JJ Redick, and we were just saying, for someone that is not as big of an advocate as we are, well, what would we say? Laker Tom just went on, honestly, a great spiel and brought up some great points. And honestly, the one that I want to bring up, and I think the one that he really hit it on the nail, is the fact that this is a new day and age. This is a new era of basketball. Like these are not the same players that played back in the day, and you have to now connect with these players. I think that is the most important thing. And I love what you said, Laker Tom. You said, I think that being able to connect with the players might be more important than actually have been a player, right? And I love that, and I'm right on board with that, because now we got to remember that these guys are. It's not that I want to call them soft, right? But they're just they need to feel, I'm not going to say coddled, but they need to feel like they're cared for, that they're wanted, that these players nowadays are not the same type of player that like Shaq is. I know Shaq all the time talks about, I would be motivated by hate. When people would put me down, people would be mean to me, people would hate on me, that will motivate me to become a good player. Nowadays, like, I really don't believe that is the case. I believe that you have to kind of, cuddle these guys and tell these guys that they're great, and tell these guys that, hey, I believe in you and you can do it. And you got to really be able to connect with these guys. And I think that when you look all around the board and you look for other teams that are successful right now, you don't have to look very far. Look at who's in the finals right now. Jason Kidd, young coach who's able to connect with these young players. Boston Celtics, Joe Mazzulla, young coach who's able to connect with these players. Number one seed in the Western Conference, the Oklahoma City Thunder. I don't care if people want to call them the weakest number one seed, whatever. They were the number one seed. Mark Dadenaugh, a young coach who can lock in with these players. So there's a trend, and I think that the Lakers need to realize that trend. And as far as JJ Redick, yes, I get it. He's a first-time head coach. I get it. It'd be huge shoes to step in as a first-time head coach on the Lakers and LeBron in his last couple of years. I get it. They're huge shoes to fill. But at the end of the day, like, you have to give him a chance at some point. And again, I understand maybe you don't want to give him a chance on the Lakers, but I think that I listened to that Mind the Game podcast. I love JJ's analyst. I listened to his other podcast that he had, the Old Man and the Three. He really is a extremely knowledgeable X's and O's type player. I get it. It is a little different when you're on the court, and it's like that Mike Tyson quote. It's like everybody got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. And I get it. I totally get it. But I believe that players, they need chances, and coaches, they also need chances. And I think that if you're ever going to give a coach a chance, first-time head coach, you would do it when there's an era of the Jason Kidds, of the Mark Dadenaughs, of the Joe Mazzulla. So I am very heavy on board for JJ Redick. L Rob, I want to get your thoughts on that. And then after we get your thoughts on that, I wanted to field some of these chats. So talk to me, L Rob. JJ Redick or no? How do you feeling? You're on mute right now, by the way.
Let me see if I got a coin so I can toss it up in the air. I don't know. I have no idea if JJ Redick can be a good coach or not. And I don't think any of us really do. So if LeBron wants him, if LeBron vouches for him, then hey, I'm a roll with LeBron and trust that he understands the makeup of his team and he understands JJ Redick. I haven't listened to any of his podcasts, so I really can't glean anything from that. Only thing I do is see some of the comments he's made, and I'm an old school guy, and he hasn't exactly endeared himself to people like me with some of his comments. And he's a dookie, so he's got a couple strikes with me. So we'll see. I'll be rooting for him hard as far as youth goes. Jason Kidd's about the same age as Darvin Ham, so he's not really a young coach. He's been around the block several times, and he's been at one point he was said not to be that good of a coach. So amazing how now all of a sudden people are saying Jason Kidd is one of the best coaches.
Kyrie used to be the devil in disguise.
Yeah. So, stick around and the narrative changes on people. Right. Joe Mazzulla, Boston fans wanted him out. I mean, there's no secret. They wanted him out last year. We'll see if he can finish the job. If he doesn't, then they will want him out this year. That's the game. I mean, it's the nature of the beast. People in this microwave society, they want instant gratification. They want the coaches to come in. They want to win now. Adrian Griffin, he won the highest winning percentage probably ever of a coach to get fired in the middle of the season. So I really don't know what to make of it. So I don't want to come across as I have a hard, strong opinion. I trust you and Tom that you guys have done your research and you've vetted him out thoroughly, and that you guys feel confident that he'll be a better coach. But I guess my question is, better than who? Who are other options? Who is he beating out for the job? What makes him better than the other candidates that are on the table? I guess would be my question.
Okay, I mean, I know here in the chat we got Pale Fox, and I appreciate you being here in the chat, Pale Fox. We appreciate all the comments. He said Ergen Adaman is a real coach, and earlier he was saying that's the coach he wants to go with if we're looking for a championship winning coach. He said he molds men into champions. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if you guys have any background on him, but I don't know much, to be honest with you. I have always, I'm not gonna lie, and this is not even just the Lakers. Like, anytime a coaching opportunity comes up, I've always thought that Mark Jackson would still deserves a coaching role in somewhere in this league. Don't know if he'll actually get it. I know he's like kind of blackballed out of the league at this point, but I do think that he is a good coach and could help out. Some of the other candidates, I think it's slim pickings, to be honest with you. I did see that. I don't know if he already got picked up, but I know JB Bickerstaff, he got let go from the Cavs, I believe. So that's always an option out there. Kurt is saying Mark Jackson has burned too many bridges. Would love to know what he did to burn some of these bridges, but I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on this, Laker Tom or L Rob.
Mark Jackson. The problem with Mark Jackson has been that he's not been able to keep his religion out of the coaching job, and he's alienated people, in that sense. So and it's just the point where you don't have to proselytize every part of your life, or else you end up being somebody who's just looked at as one-dimensional, and they can't get over that. So yeah, it's kind of funny because. You'd think that after, he had a big part in putting together the Warriors championship things, and that not getting in that right situation there, and then he has been blackballed from the league because you don't even hear him up for discussion in things like the Lakers jobs. The big battle in the Lakers jobs, as far as the battle in the media over not hiring a new head coach who doesn't have any coaching experience, has been comparing him to assistant coaches. And I found that to be an argument that just doesn't make sense, because most of the assistant coaches in the league are assistant coaches because that's really what their ability and ceiling is. Their ceiling is not head coaches. You got 8 assistant coaches on every single team in the league. It's not like the old days where you had 1-2 guys sitting on the bench. They can't even put them all in the front row. They have to put them in the second row. And they got to classify them, I mean, you're hired as a coach. One of the things you want to know if you're an assistant is, am I going to sit in the front row or in the second row, man? I don't want to be behind them. The bench behind that's so there's and they're talking to the head assistant. They're talking to the assistant coaches of the Nuggets, obviously, Edelman, and really talented guy. And you talk about coach coming off a coaching tree. His dad, invented the corner offense and was a terrific head coach. He was a legendary head coach like Pat Riley and so forth. Maybe not as successful, but he was up there. And the guy, same thing with the guy who's there's 2 or 3 of those guys who are assistants and lead assistants. not guys who are sitting behind the bench. They're sitting in the front row. They're sitting right next to the head coach. They're the guys who take over when the head coach gets kicked out because he gets a technical or something. But they haven't been head coaches. And it's a total different job being a head coach because you really just have to look at everything. I mean, it's more managing personnel. It's making critical decisions. You know, who's going to start? Darvin Ham didn't get fired because he was a first-year head coach, because almost everybody, including everybody on this sitting here and could see all year long, we kept saying he's playing the wrong people. He's playing the wrong people the wrong amount of times, you know, trying to make starters out of guys like Prince, who is a terrific role player, you know, and hopefully he'll come back. He's a great shooter. He hustles on defense. He's a smart player. But man, he's not a starter who plays 48 minutes and sends to the bench, you know, guys who like D'Lo and Austin Reeves who should be out there playing. He just never could get. He never played the same guys that took him to the conference finals. It's just he didn't lose his job because he was a first year head coach. He lost his job because of stupid decisions that people who've never played in the league and never coached in the league could see themselves right in front of their faces that he's doing the wrong thing and making the wrong choices. And that's what cost him his job. And what happens inevitably, I mean, we've seen it a million times, he loses the team. Nobody's listening to him in the locker room. And that's what happened during the season. And it was almost inevitable by the end of the year that he lost his job. You know, it was a shame that it took a couple of last minute, you know, back breaking shots from the Nuggets to kill us again, you know, and knock us out in a gentleman's sweep. Almost as embarrassing as last year. We could well have won that series if things had bounced a different way, even with Darvin Ham as the coach. That's what's so frustrating about it. And, you know, and look at Frank Vogel. He's won a championship just a couple of years ago. He's been fired twice. Not fired once, he's been fired twice already.
Yes. And L Rob, you got to let me know what are your dogs thinking? Do they like JJ Redick or no?
Yeah, somebody's coming in the yard, so dog's going crazy. So the young puppy. So I'm sorry about that.
Nah, you good, brother. You good. I was just playing. Nah, I want to give everybody
yelling in the background.
I want to give everybody a chance to speak. So if the dog's got to say something, we got to hear what the dog's got to say, man.
I guess he's part of OKC, right? They're the ones that do the dog barking. So he's rolling with the Thunder.
We're looking for off season. It looks like we're going to be looking for dogs instead of third stars, right?
Yeah, I you know what? I think the motto is to get depth and have more flexibility as opposed to getting another big star. So
yeah, the only reason we're probably at that point is that there aren't any third stars out there that are available. You know, Mitchell's probably the only one that's out there, and that's basically the position that at least the media has associated with the Lakers now. That it's Donovan Mitchell, or else we're going to go more for depth. You know, what I'm hoping that they're going to do, and this is the thing that I keep railing about, is that you've got 3 first-round picks and 3 draft swaps. So, okay, there's nobody on the market that you can get a superstar with using that right now, right? Okay, so what do? Why don't you do some variation of what other teams have done, like use a first-round pick to get an Aaron Gordon, use a first-round pick to get somebody who really just fits perfectly, and you know, or go out and get 2 players, get 2 really good starters that would replace two-way players to replace the one-way players we got. Yeah. You know, and you should do that.
We give we give Pelinka and those guys a hard time, and rightfully so in a lot of instances. But I mean, they have pulled off I mean, bringing Rui here was a good deal. Bringing
They got out of the Westbrook. They pulled the
bringing
miracle
Vandy
out of
in
the
was
Westbrook thing,
bringing Vandy
which they
in was
put themselves in, of course.
yeah, but bringing Vandy in, I mean, they got into it because their top players thought that was a great idea. So
Now they want to trade Vando, though. That's
yeah. But getting Vandy was a great move. I mean, I still think Gabe can be a good contributor. I mean, but he's got to be healthy and he's got to be given time. So I'm not down on him. I think he's the type of player the Lakers need, a tough guy who's played smart, who can they just need more intelligent, physical guys, and he fits that mold. So I like to see him.
Do you trust that Pelinka in the front office will trade or keep the right guys?
Honestly,
no, I don't.
I don't trust that. Yeah, I can't trust that.
Absolutely not.
Here's a little test that I have. I'm going to give you guys. This is a little test to see what you think of the Lakers players. Here's possible trades. Easy trades, real easy trades. Alex Caruso for Austin Reeves. Straight up, no picks or anything.
Absolutely, I'm taking that. I'm gonna be honest. I'm taking that.
Huh? You would or not?
No.
Why not, L. Rob? Talk to me. Why not, L. Rob?
Because I think Austin is on the uptick. I think his game. He's
got upside still.
Yeah, he's young. He's got a good contract.
Caruso is already at his peak.
Yeah, Caruso's at his peak. We've seen the best of Caruso.
Right, but which one fits best for what we need right now?
Caruso, in my opinion, Caruso fits best for what we need right now. We need some type of perimeter defending.
Reeves is better. Reeves is a better player, but Caruso's a better fit, which is why I think that's a trade that Chicago might make.
Yeah, but I mean, again, if you got somebody like Gabe Vincent on your roster, he's got to feel some of that need on defense. I mean, he's got to pick it up and be a decent defender.
It's just so hard to do it with a guy. Those damn Miami players, man. It's like,
man, I hate those Miami players.
Every other year is great, and then every other year you sit out.
You know, the problem with those Miami players is, and Pale Fox even said earlier, like Kendrick Nunn just won a championship last week. Shout out Kendrick Nunn. But one thing that I always say with these Heat players, and I've said this so many times on my channel, I've said this so many times on this channel, the Miami Heat like really have that Heat culture thing is a real thing. Like it is a real thing. In my opinion, Eric Spoelstra right now is the best coach in the league that's currently coaching. So he can take you that's a decent player, put you in a really good position, put you in a role where you're doing something that it's maximizing your ability, that's where you're best at, because Eric Spoelstra can just manipulate the game like that. And if you can just buy into your role, if you can just buy in to all this hard work that the Miami Heat are doing before practice, after practice, all of this that they're doing, if you can do that, Eric Spoelstra will make you look like a good player. And it's happened time and time and time again. And then when you go to a different team where the accountability is not the same, where you don't have the best coach currently in the NBA putting you in the right position, you go to another team and then you get, just exposed, right? Look at I'll give Gabe Vincent I guess he was injured this year, so
I guess the injury card. Same thing.
Yeah, I'll give him.
None got the injury card.
None. Okay, but none legitimately.
Rule. They can't play the injury card anymore, especially if you're from Miami.
None legitimately. Like, I'm not gonna lie, guys. I was watching None on the Heat and then watching None on the Lakers. It really looked like it was two different basketball players. It looked like he lost his like confidence. Looked like he didn't even want to shoot, want to be out there. But you don't even got to look at just those guys. Remember Hassan Whiteside? Whiteside, we thought this man was going to be around for the next couple of years because he was so great on the Heat. As soon as he left the Heat, his career just started dwindling down. So,
and how did they leave, John? How did both of those guys that we got leave the Heat? They left as free agents, right?
Yes, exactly.
Right. In other words, the Heat didn't keep them.
He signed White. I was never high on White.
That should be a warning sign right off of the bat that if the Heat didn't keep him.
Yeah, they signed him to that big contract though. So That was one of the
Yeah,
worst
yeah.
moves Riley had made. But I was never big on Whiteside. I mean, he was always
Well, injuries will make a genius look like an idiot
empty
real
stat guy to
quickly.
me.
Yeah, I agree with Whiteside.
What was that, L. Rob? You say what about Whiteside?
I was say he was just an empty stats guy to me. He had great numbers, but when it was winning time, or again, I'm big on.
He went for every block there was to make.
I'm big on high IQ players, and I would not categorize him in that area. So
here's something else.
The desire wasn't there for him. He maximized his physical skills, but he didn't have the mental part to go with the physical skills. And to me, he just didn't have the determination to go with that. So he got one third of the equation. So I'm really surprised that Riley and those guys paid him as much as they did. So just goes to show everybody can,
if we're not going to chase superstars, to me, it almost says that there's a better chance that we're going to use the number 17 pick, right?
Which I hope we do. What I find interesting is that there are like 4 guys that are in the mock drafts around 17 who are centers. Would be great backup centers who could possibly grow into starters. It'd be interesting.
That's a position of need. We that's a position of need. So
yeah, I mean, and the guys that you got out there, you got 7'4" Zach Edey. I mean, he's pretty good center. You got the guy Kyle Filipowski from Duke, who's a great shooter, outside shooter. So he would be, and he blocked 54 shots last year, so he's a good player, 7-footer. There's a guy Ware who's also really good center. There's like 4 guys that range from 16 to 25 in picks in the mock draft who are centers, and most of them shoot the 3. Some of them are only like 32% shooters, but a couple of them are 40% shooters. Filipowski is 41% shooter. And there's a couple of power forwards that could be like small ball 5s who also shoot the 5. So it's kind of interesting that if it's true, like the Lakers, like the press is saying, that the Lakers are not going to pursuing a superstar, but they are going to try to really build up the roster. Are they going to go out there and use those picks to upgrade the one-way players we've got to two-way players, make those kind of trades?
Yeah. I mean, I like Filipowski. I had a chance to watch him 3 or 4 times. So I think he's a plus player. I think he can come in and
be a great back. He would be a great backup center for the Lakers.
I think he can have an impact immediately. Edey, man, it's just hard to see how he translates.
Boy,
into the NBA.
You're going
to put him in a pick and roll. So basically, you're going to have to have like an automatic double switch every time they try to put him into a pick and roll. But my God, the guy is so big. And the thing that I like about him, actually, he's actually kind of mean. He's not one of these quiet big guys that doesn't like to throw his weight around. He likes to throw it around. He likes to throw his body around. He likes to be really aggressive. And he's improved. I watched him shoot. He has some potential, man. I don't know how you got to handle him defensively. He's not going to be a starter. He's like the guy Boban, from a couple of years ago in Dallas.
Yeah. Okay.
He's definitely going to be probably in the movies, as a villain at some point in time. A sure thing, But he is a villainous. He's a villainous type player. I'd be interesting to see if the Lakers had any interest in him. But I love Filipowski because of his ability to shoot the ball. A stretch. He can easily get minutes next to Anthony Davis, for example.
Yeah, he's got a mean streak too. He's got some toughness to him too.
Yeah, and he's got size and height. He's a legitimate 7-footer.
Yeah, and what's crazy, guys, is when we're talking about whether the Lakers are going to try to go for a superstar, go big game hunting, or just be able to get a lot of good ancillary good role players around what we currently have. I think that like the NBA is now starting to finally shift, to be honest with you, and I think it really started the year that Kawhi won that championship when he won in Toronto. It's not the NBA. I don't think that teams with just the best three players, the best two players are winning. It's the teams that now are top to bottom, like have players that fit the team, players that fit the mold. Like I think of the Dallas Mavericks, right? Don't get me wrong.
The mold has changed. The mold is changing, John. Right now, I mean, we're in a changing of the guard where the older players and older teams are getting replaced by younger players and younger teams.
Yes.
But the mold is changing because the players are bigger, they're taller, they're longer, they're more athletic. I mean, when you watch the Thunder or the Timberwolves play defense, it's like the court is like shrunk, man, because these guys are so long. And you got Dallas. Look at Dallas. Luka is the point guard.
6'7" point guard.
They're not. This is like LeBron as a kid.
Yeah.
They're not even that. You got a guy who's as big as Luka, nobody can stop in the paint.
Absolutely.
And then you can populate the rest of your lineup with four other guys. I mean,
but that's a one of a kind, Tom. That's
I know.
Luka, there's only one Luka, so
thank God. But there's also only one Joker. There's also only one Ant-Man. It appears. Things are changing so much.
Only one AD, so it's
there you go, glad Rob.
It is.
So
there you go. And so what I was saying is like exactly the point that you were kind of getting at, like Tom. Like there's so many good players all around the league that I don't feel like. Remember when it was just every year you knew it was going to be the Cavs and the Warriors. It was going to be the Cavs and the Warriors. Yeah. You knew that nobody else really had a chance. You knew who was going to be at the finals, but I think now there are so many good players all around the league, and it's such a well-balanced league that what really makes a difference of a team being a good team and a championship winning team is when you can have those good role players that actually fit your team. Yeah. Like the point that I was going to get at earlier with the Mavericks is you have Luka and Kyrie, who are great 2 generational type players who can, if your offense breaks down, they can just go score at will because that's what they do.
Who only went 12-18 last year,
right?
But what did they do this year?
When you get the role players around them, when you get the Derek Lively to be able to set those good picks and roll to the hoop, when you get the Daniel Gaffors to do the same thing, when you get the Derek Jones Jr.'s, the PJ Washingtons to just sit on the corner and specialize in their role. All I gotta do is sit right here, wait for Luka and Kyrie to come off his pick and roll. They're gonna have to double Luka or they're gonna have to double Kyrie, because if they don't, then Luka Kyrie is gonna torch them. So as soon as they double, you kick it to a Derek Jones Jr., you kick it to a PJ Washington, and all those guys got to do is get ready to catch and shoot. And I think that's why, these teams, they fit, right? On the Celtics, you have the Jason Tatums, you have the Jaylen Browns, but then you have the Derek Whites, you have the Drew Holidays, the guys who are willing to buy into the role. And now these role players fit your superstars, right? They fit and they make sense of what the team is, what the
best constructed 2 teams in the league right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, and I think that's a trend. The
Lakers should have emulated each one of them.
Yeah,
the Lakers should have done exactly what the Celtics did, which was get 3 starters to go with their stars who are elite, who are stars in their own roles. And the same thing the Mavericks did.
Well, Lakers have won a championship. Celtics, let's see them win the championship first. Yeah. Dallas, okay, do you want the Lakers to tank? I mean, that's shameful the way they got Lively. I mean, they just threw away a playoff season.
75,000. They should have taken the draft pick away from them.
That's the Lakers. I mean, the Lakers are not going to do that. The Lakers want to be in the playoffs. They want a chance to be in it, and Dallas just punted the playoffs this season. I mean, come on.
Who's going to win the playoffs? Who's going to win the finals?
Who's going to win it all? You guys aren't going to like my answer, but I'm going to be honest. I've been saying this all season just because I'm a realist. I've been seeing it. If Kristaps Porzingis plays,
this is a Lakers Fast Break podcast, John.
I know, but I'm just
a reminder.
I'm just being honest, you guys. I've been saying this all season. Not that I don't want to see it happening, but sometimes I have to take off the purple and gold shades and I have to look at basketball for what it is. Because I love the game of basketball. And when I look at the Celtics,
How many
fully
games?
healthy, honestly, I think the Celtics can win in 6 games, to be honest with you.
I mean, with Porzingis, I would have to say they're favorites, but I don't know what he's going to look like. I haven't seen him play in so long.
I wanted Porzingis.
I'm interested to see how Tatum and Brown elevate their game to match Luka's, because Luka's gonna bring it. So
Luka's gonna bring
these guys have seen, Tatum's supposed to be the guy, and he's seen all these guys come and get elevated over him. He's seen Ant-Man come, and all of a sudden he's better than him, according to everyone, and Luka's better than him. So this is a test. If he elevates his game to Luka's game.
All right, let's just get official predictions. L-Rob, what you got?
What's your official prediction, Lee?
I'm going to go Dallas in 7.
Oh, okay. Laker time, what you got?
Dallas in 6.
Dallas in 6. Okay, everybody in the chat, let us know what you got. Man, looks like I'm the only one. I'm not supporting here, y'all. I just want to stand on my take because I actually have a video that I dropped on my channel, Clutch Talk, where I talk all about the NBA. I dropped a video 5 months ago.
I got ravaged by the Lakers Fast Break podcast.
So John, let me
publishing an article that the Lakers should copy what the Celtics did in going out and getting.
I'm just trying to think. Who's the best player in the series?
In the series?
Player in the series.
I'm gonna be honest. It's probably Luka Doncic. To be honest.
When is the last time a team won without the best player?
Because the Celtics have literally.
I didn't ask you that. I just said, when was the last time a team won a championship and they didn't have the best player in the finals?
Okay, but hold on. Time out though. Great point, L-Rob. But I'm gonna be honest. It's not like miles away that Luka Doncic is the best player, and Luka Doncic hasn't even been playing that great all the playoffs. He did to have an amazing game.
Would you give up Reeves and Christie and sign Kyrie to a 4-year deal now? In retrospect, that's why we lost him. That's why we lost him.
But I'm gonna be honest, guys. I don't think
Reeves and Christie and 2 more years would have gotten Kyrie.
But I'm gonna be honest. I don't even think that even if you were to put Kyrie on our team, we would have got past the Nuggets. To be real with you, and I'm just being honest. I don't think that makes a change. What we really needed was that backup big.
I don't know. Luka alone was a lower 4 playoff team. Luka with Kyrie is a potential championship team.
Yeah.
Luka, I will give you that. I will give you that. But look,
I mean, it was a gamble at the time. We probably said there was maybe a 10% chance that Kyrie would straighten himself out the way he has. But man, he's aced the 10%.
They were in danger of losing Luka. So they had to roll the dice. They came from a position.
And it's funny, if LeBron had been just a couple years younger, we would have rolled the dice too. But we weren't willing to do it with Kyrie's baggage and LeBron being so old. Now, in retrospect, had we known how good Kyrie straightened out and how healthy LeBron has been,
man,
one door shuts, another one opens.
We all know as Lakers fans, Lakers get unfair media attention and unfair criticism. I think that Kyrie would have been under such a microscope that I don't know if it's the same microscope that he's in Dallas. No, yes, granted, he definitely got his act together, and you haven't heard of Kyrie Irving doing these outlandish things off the court that we usually hear, but he also wasn't in the Laker uniform. The second year in the Laker uniform,
he managed to avoid the whole Gaza situation.
Yeah.
I mean, the old Kyrie would have just exploded. I mean, it was like he had so many opportunities, and it was like,
if I'm playing him, if I'm the opposing team, I'd send one of the reporters in and be like asking them, "Hey, Kyrie, what's your thoughts on the Middle East conflict?
You want a good quote? You want a quote? You want to go viral?
Get Kyrie to say something." But that's my concern with JJ Redick. Actually, is the bright lights, and the Lakers fans are
brutal
tough. So I'm just hopefully he's got thick enough skin to handle it, and he doesn't let the pressure get to him, because the pressure is going to be strong.
Real quick, I want to respond to this comment because Pale, it sounds like you're standing up for Kyrie, saying that Kyrie didn't change, but that is absolutely false. Kyrie, he did change. Like, and don't get me wrong, like this might sound like some hating real quick, but I'm just gonna go on a quick tangent. Like Kyrie, in my opinion, great basketball player, might have one of the greatest handles of all time. Not taking none of that away from him, but he is such a prima donna. Like he is such a prima donna, and everything. If it's not right and it's not in place for him, he has to complain. He has to complain about this. He has to complain about that. Like every team he's been on has been a team that could win a championship, but it's been a little thing that's gone wrong. Whether it was the whole COVID situation, whether it was I understand the George Floyd situation, about how he like left and said he needed a break, but then was found in the club diddy bopping. These are a lot of real issues. So I just want to say that Kyrie Irving, yes, he's on a basketball court, great player, but in every situation, whether it was in Cleveland when he first came on, he didn't want LeBron to son him, even though LeBron was like 9 years older than him and was just trying to give him big brother guidance, but he didn't want LeBron to be a big brother. Or whether it was in Boston when he literally stood in front of the entire crowd and said, "Boston, I'm coming back," and then didn't come back to go to the Brooklyn Nets. Or whether
a lot of people has done that though, John. A lot of people have said they were going to stick around and have it. Yeah. COVID, I don't know how. I mean, I stood up for him as COVID as somebody who did not take the shots myself. I can understand him not taking it, and I thought that was very unfair for people to judge him based upon something that he felt was bad for his body. Now, the other comments he made a lot of comments that's indefensible that I would never want to defend them. But some of that stuff, I thought he took unfair heat just because of he was Kyrie and people were piling on. So,
but I think like, and I see Pale here is a big Kyrie fan. I just think that, don't get me wrong, basketball court, he's there, but you can't look at us, right? I mean, I don't know what you guys do, but I work a regular 9-to-5 job. I cannot just leave my job and go unannounced for a couple of weeks, and then just when they're like, "John, where are you?" People find me in the club diddy bopping without a mask, and then say, "Oh, I'm sorry, it was just too much going on." Like,
do you remember when LeBron took a 2-week vacation in the middle of that season?
When unannounced during COVID?
He announced. He said he had some nagging injury, but he just took he took about 2 weeks off when he was with the Heat when they were. I got to look up the year, but yeah, LeBron.
Saying you have a nagging injury and just absolutely going off the face of the earth is two different things, though, Rob.
Yeah, okay, I can get with that.
Listen, I think Kyrie had baggage. I don't think any of us can deny that Kyrie had baggage at the time. I've been a guy's. Listen, when players are available to the Lakers, star players, guys who can win championships, when they're available to the Lakers, they're going to be available because of the pay, the amount of money that they're earning, the injury history, or the fact that they're a problem player because they've got some baggage that's a problem. Now, Kyrie is a problem to every other team, but the Lakers, for goddamn sakes, they have got LeBron James, who wanted Kyrie. And Kyrie wanted to play with LeBron. And so now we're finally at a point where Austin Reeves will go if it's a superstar deal. Well, we weren't back then. And we refused to give up Reeves, and we refused to give up Christie, and we refused to give Kyrie more than a 2-year extension.
And now we're talking about trading Reeves for.
And now we're talking about
for Caruso.
Well, we actually have, when we talk about what we have in our bag right now, the Lakers are filling it up with as many things as they can. We've got 3 first-round picks. We got 3 first-round swaps. We've got Austin Reeves, worth a first-round pick. We've got Vando, who used to be, and there's a lie. So you're looking for a shooter. We got Russell. The Lakers are lining this stuff up.
If he resigns, we have
shuffle a deck.
If he
resigns. I hope they are. But if they shuffle a deck, without including the picks, the guys that they're going to get back are going to be crapshoots to be better or worse than the guys they're replacing. So you've got to throw those picks in, or at least two of them. Keep the draft pick and use it to a young wing or a young big. But use the other two picks to get that two players that can start, who are two-way players, to replace the one-way players, and invest in the team the way that the Mavericks did this year and the way that the Celtics did last year, where you basically, you don't need superstars. Yeah, we got to replace LeBron at some point in time, 2 years down the road. So yeah, if we can, here's the thing, we want to get a guy, but we don't want to pay $45 million, because if we pay $45 million, we got to give up everybody. We have to trade everybody to match salaries, and we don't have any picks left. So you got to look for a guy who makes at least 35. Okay, that's Donovan. He makes 35. Ideally what you want is a guy who makes 25, like DeJounte.
Why didn't Donovan play the last the two games in that series?
You just got to find a star. You got to find a star that can replace him, who's not yet a star. Somebody that you can get a little cheaper than, and it's because it's not so much, it's what they earn now, that you got to leave some money left over to build the rest of the team, because this new CBA is going to force, there are going to be two types of teams. They're going to be teams that just basically don't put together a good team, and they're under the first tax apron. And then you got a whole bunch of people that are going to be the middle. That's like almost 20 of the 30 teams are going to be teams that are going to be under the second apron. And then you got 5 teams, the Clippers and the.
Are you concerned? Are you guys at all concerned with LeBron when the LeBron drop off comes?
I don't think so. I think they can manage it, because it all depends on, the problem with redoing the team every year is it always depends on what you've done for us lately. And that's the scary thing about Rob Pelinka.
Can we expect LeBron to play at the same level he played this year, next year?
I think we can. I think we can. I think
even less games. He's gonna take even more time off than he's took. All these games that he just punted this year.
We should play him fewer minutes, and we should play him fewer games.
But for us to do that, and it kind of transitions great into what this comment says right here. Lakers all day. Dope. Appreciate you commenting, brother. He said, yo, John, do you want us to trade for DeJounte Murray? I want to get your guys' take on that. For me, I honestly would love it. I would love.
Give him the two picks for Murray. Give him the 29 and 31 picks unprotected. Get DeJounte Murray in. Keep Austin Reeves in that situation. Then and you can have a great team, and then you can use the draft pick to get your backup center. It's a solution. It's a solution. The problem that you get a guy who listen, his last year with the Spurs is why we want DeJounte Murray. Yeah. His last year with the Spurs, he was almost a triple-double player.
Why do you do the minutes if you got Murray? You're saying and D'Lo's gone then?
Yeah, I think D'Lo would be gone then, because
Murray's the only way that you can let D'Lo walk. Otherwise, you have to re-sign D'Lo. You can't let D'Lo walk unless you get Murray.
Yeah, I think
you need a point guard to replace him, and the point guard's got to make $25 million. He can't make $45 million.
Yeah, DeJounte is definitely more consistent and be more dependable.
Yeah, he can be a. Given the ball, without having a second guy like Trey that he's got to share the ball with, he can be dynamic. He could be a superstar on the Lakers.
He absolutely could.
When LeBron's gone, he could be the second superstar.
I absolutely agree. I think he could be the guy to set up Anthony Davis. And I've said this all the time, like AD is a 1B type guy. Like he needs someone to get him going. He needs someone to get him the ball. He needs to get into his post position, give him the ball, or he needs somebody to run that pick and rolls with to hit him. And I think DeJounte Murray could be that, but not just that. He can be what at least I was hoping to see from D'Angelo Russell, right? That's like a some sort of resemblance of a two-way player.
He
Because
could
DeJounte Murray
be D'Angelo Russell with some better defense.
with some way better defense. I mean, I know
And
DeJounte Murray
more speed and athleticism physically.
exactly.
He made a lot of clutch game-winning shots this year.
Exactly. So
he's at the top of my list. He's at the top of my list for hopefully what we do.
I personally would love that.
Personally, defensive end. How do you guys rate him defensively?
DeJounte?
Yeah.
As probably one of the best, not the best, but probably top best perimeter defender guards.
He's better than, let's say, the only players that I think we could get that could be better than him defensively would be Marcus Smart, Alex Caruso, probably those two guys.
Out of those two options, I think that he fits the need offensively.
You could actually get one of those options to play with him if you wanted. Then you would have a hell of a backcourt then defensively. I mean, imagine Alex Caruso. Say you traded Reeves for Caruso, and you got a backcourt that's DeJounte Murray and Alex Caruso.
Yeah, you still need. I mean, I love DeJounte's mid range, and he's a scorer, so that would offset what Austin brings offensively. But
but I'd love to keep Austin and have him become your sixth man. He could be just terrific.
Austin is a baller. I mean, this year was very choppy for him, so I'd be interested.
Well, they wore him out a little bit.
If he had the whole summer off. And I mean, it took him a little while to wake up against Denver. He got aggressive in the last two games, and he had that mentality.
Yeah, I wouldn't trade him for anybody. It's funny. I would trade him for DeJounte. I would trade him for Smart, and I would trade him for Alex.
Yeah, I don't know about Marcus Smart. I mean, his best days, I think, are behind him.
Yeah.
Real quick. I'm not so sure about that.
He's been injured.
He still had very great steal numbers, best steal numbers of his career. You got to look at what it took out of him to be traded by the Celtics, man. That was a heartbreaker for him.
That was a heartbreaker. Real quick, Lakers all day dope. Yes, I do. I have two YouTube channels. I have Clutch Talk, which is just right here. It's all one word. I talk about NBA topics all around the league, and then I also have Lakers Corner, where I just get into just Lakers content. And then Clutch Talk is also Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all that. And then also, I gotta address some of these things right here, because Pale, I think brother, you taking it a little bit too far. I seen the comment he was saying about he needs me to look deeper into Kyrie. Pale, listen, brother, I give Kyrie all his respect, and I take mental health extremely serious. I am a black man in America too. I could not just take work off out of nowhere when the whole situation was happening, and then continue to get paid, and then continue to just be this millionaire that my life is made. And I understand mental health is serious, but I as well had to work, and I as well couldn't just stop. And for the fact that he felt that he was above everyone to where he can just disappear off the face of the earth, and then his only response when he comes back, I needed a mental health break. That's not okay, brother. Like, that's not okay. Like, you have a job to be there, whether your job is to be a plumber, whether your job is to be a salesman, or whether your job is to be in the NBA. You have a job. You cannot just skate out of your job and then come back and say, I needed a mental health break. Totally get it. I am a black man in America too. I understand everything was going on. I was going through it as well. My only strike with Kyrie was that you can't just leave all of a sudden unexpectedly, not tell your teammates, not tell your coach, not tell where nobody is, and then come back and say, I needed a mental health break. It doesn't work like that. But I totally respect him. But I am just saying their line has to be drawn somewhere. And that's what I'm saying.
It's him being at the party, I think, that rubbed John the wrong way. Or him being out.
Mental break and then be out partying. I don't care if it's your sister's birthday. Like, that's not, like, you can't do that. Like, that can't be your excuse.
But we don't know what communications he had with the team. I mean, we really don't know. I mean, so.
Yeah, but I just had to get on that, because I don't want people thinking I'm like killing Kyrie. Like, I respect what he stands for, but I think that you can't just not go to work, because I also work a job like we all do. And if we did that, we'll be fired like how he should have been.
Hey, John.
No.
So, me and Tom are old enough to know a lot of hoop, a lot of great players. I remember at the middle of one season, Dave Cowan said, "I'm out. Deuces, people." And he just went off and he was driving a cab. he just left the Celtics and he was driving a cab for half a season. And then I think he came back later on and he was like, "Okay, let's go."
Hey, listen, a lot of us.
I mean, he just walked to a different.
Haven't you ever quit a job because you just couldn't take it anymore?
And he didn't care. He didn't care what we had our back. He didn't care. I'm gonna have to look it up, but I'm pretty sure. I don't know how many games it was, but I'm sure it was at least a month, maybe a little bit longer. And John Havlicek or whoever was on the team at that time, Hondo may have been gone. It might have been post Havlicek, but whoever was on the team, they just had to throw up their hands and like, that wasn't, probably what me and you would do. We grinding, we showing up every day and we getting the work in. But some guys are just a little bit different. And, the organization's got to make a decision. Okay, are we going to treat this guy a little bit differently, understand he's different, he needed this break and he's got to do it and value him enough to bring him back? Or either say, hey, that's not how this organization is rolling and you're out of here. Now, in Cowan's instance, he had been with Boston a number of years. He had won a couple of championships. So he had obviously some equity built up, but the organization backed him and everything was cool. He didn't have I can't imagine if he was to do that right now, the social media with all of the talk shows, the heat that he would take. I mean, heck, Rudy Gobert went and missed the game because of his birth of his baby, and people was killing him on that.
That one was crazy. He was
like, "Hey, dude, it's the playoffs. Y'all might never get a chance to win a ring again. How you gonna go and be away and attend the birth of your baby?"
How do you guys feel about that? Let me give me your thoughts on that one.
I was like, it was a different day. I don't think it was even on the game day. Wasn't it the day before the game? I thought he would figure out a way to make it back, but I can respect him prioritizing his family over
very important thing, man.
I can respect
That's
that.
Something that you're gonna live with.
I probably would have tried to figure out a way to do both, but wife for she's gonna be like looking at you like you crazy.
Yeah.
If you're talking about you going to the game.
I don't know. Honestly, unless that baby is popping out, the second tip ball is that the ball is thrown up for tip, I'm baby girl. I got an obligation to be there. Like this is putting money on the table for my folks. You know what I'm saying? If that baby is coming out, like I would like to be there for the baby coming out. Like, and I have a daughter of my own, but like unless that's the case, like come on, man. Like these players they have all this money. Like you could take a private jet, like right after, like baby come out, boom, I'm right back on a private jet, like straight to the game. I don't know.
But we're all different. That's the problem. Everybody's mental health is different, and I'm sure that there are lots of regular guys with regular jobs who blew their job because of their mental health, or quit because of mental health, or just decided that they're going to take a couple of weeks off, and they came back and maybe they built up enough equity, like Collins had done with his organization, that they said, okay, yeah, man, we understand. And I think we're hopefully better and smarter about recognizing that everybody has mental health problems from time to time, and so it's not a disgrace to need help from somebody, and people should not be left in a situation where they don't feel they can get any help. So hopefully we're doing a better job at that than we used to be. I mean, just look back at the Showtime TV show and all of the things in turmoil that were going on in the locker rooms. Now imagine magnifying that 100 times with social media today. Yeah. It's not easy to be a player, and it's not the same as the teams that I played for, high school and college teams that you played for. That's a whole, and for me, it's a whole different era, because I'm old enough to have been in a different era, and when you get to be in an era where you're a superstar players and all of a sudden you got contracts with other teams, with other organizations that are making you more money than the team that you're playing with. And the whole idea of competition and who's friends and who's the enemy and what how important is winning has changed so dramatically now that it's like a different game. It's just, I mean, the game. I grew up before the 3-point shot, and then all of a sudden I had to incorporate the 3-point shot into my game.
That is crazy.
It's a whole different thing, and I wouldn't change. I love the 3-point shot. In fact, one of my big demands for the Lakers is, and one of the reasons I like JJ Redick is, I want the Lakers to modernize their offense and their defense. I am tired of drop coverage. I want an aggressive, proactive defense. We should be doing the multiple switching things, everybody in motion and so forth. We should be switching everything. We should be building a team that can switch everything, that has the size and the ability to guard all 5 positions, so we can really make defense a lot easier. And we need to shoot a lot more threes. We can't continue to rely. You go through a soft streak like we did against other than LeBron James, we did that have anybody shooting a quality percentage in threes in those 5 games. 4 games slump like that, and you're shooting and you're done. You can't live just taking 33s a game when your opponents are taking 45. It just does not work out. It's the math, stupid. And yet we just refuse to modernize our offense, modernize our defense. That is going to be the single most important thing that I'm hoping that we get from hiring JJ Redick, is that we all of a sudden get somebody who's going to play the modern game of basketball, not stop trying it. I feel at times like Byron Scott, the ghost of Byron Scott, is still hanging and hovering over the franchise.
Damn, that was tough times. Byron Scott and Luke Walton, those are some tough times. But
Luke scared. What happened is the failure of Luke Walton scared the Lakers ownership of being able to go out and get a winning super coach. They thought they had a super coach. They thought they had the next super coach, and they blew it. It was just. But of course, like Mike Brown has just found out, sometimes it's the team you're given that really determines how good a coach you are.
Absolutely. Rob, you got anything to say, my brother? Talk to us.
No, actually, I had to look up that Dave Cowens. I had to fact check myself. 1976, he left the team for 30 games. Wow. Said he wasn't happy when Paul Silas got traded in the offseason coming off a championship run, and told Red Auerbach he needed a break. The team agreed to it, and he took 30 games off.
Damn, just to go. And you say he went to go drive a cab?
That was a different year, I guess, where he said he'd drive a cab for one day. This time he just chilled on the family farm, he said. He
was basically, but it's funny because there has been a group of sort of what you would think of as elite wacky players, Dennis Rodman's,
it's guys. Dennis Rodman was sleeping in the parking lot with
Kyrie Irving's
with rifles and stuff up here in Detroit. So I mean, guys are.
Sometimes they can be the combination to winning, and a combination.
It's all about most teams figure out a way to keep them in the fold if they're winning players. If they're marginal players, it's like, dude, you crazy, get out of here. If you're a winner and you're a great player, which Kyrie is, then teams figure it out. So I guess summing that conversation up. Back to the Lakers talk. It's so many balls in the air at this point. It's like, are we glad when Redick's hired so we can quit talking about possibility of being hired?
It's created an awkward situation. I'm sure for the candidates for the coaching job.
Yeah, I mean, if this thing is quit giving us this charade where you're interviewing all these other guys. If Redick is the guy, let's hire him.
We're just delaying it till after the finals.
Let's get rolling. Let's see what his vision is, and let's see how they can build this team around that. They got some good pieces. Last year, your boy John, not this past season, but last year, we know how bad D'Lo was in the playoffs. This year, he took some big steps. He showed some.
He was
clutch
better in the
moves.
playoffs this year than he was
Yeah.
last year. But,
Yeah, well, that was a
we
very
shot
low
so
bar.
poorly.
That was a very low bar from last year. He could not help but be better. But he was
Well,
really. I mean, he
but
helped them win.
I blame the coach for that because that.
Nah, you can't.
That was some bad basketball. I ain't gonna lie, Laker Tom. Like just as a basketball watching D'Lo, like damn, like from last year.
Tom, you can't blame the. You can't blame Darvin on that. But D'Lo, he played good. So let's hopefully he can come back and he can continue to grow.
I still see D'Lo as a player that you can't pair him with a Reeves. You got to, if you're going to keep D'Lo, then you need a Alex Caruso.
Yeah, that's a solid point. You got to have somebody who's defensive minded, because both of them. But Reeves improved his defense a lot, and he worked a lot harder.
Right. But he's still going to get targeted because he's a.
But Murray didn't exactly light it up. He struggled against the Lakers defense. So I guess my point overall was, when I brought up D'Lo, was this year we seen Rui go through the same thing.
Yeah,
where he just was invisible in this Denver series.
He lost his confidence, and I could tell from the moment he said that. Well, we don't have the experience that Aaron Gordon has.
Right. So
he said that,
if Rudy plays up to his potential in that series, what does that series really look like?
There were 3 or 4 guys who could have
maybe still beats us, but I don't know. So
it could have been a difference in 2 of those games that we lost by the buzzer.
The Lakers aren't, to me, from a talent standpoint, if they improve around the margins and they get some more cohesiveness together, they got a good group. If LeBron can play at that same level, which I'm just afraid.
I don't see how we could not have added a center. I don't know how we could not have added a defensive backup center at the trade deadline. That seemed to me to be there were throw a handful of second round picks, do whatever you have to do. I guess
he was hoping Jackson Hayes at some point, but they could have picked up somebody.
He just doesn't have the defensive instincts, the right defensive instincts. He's great offensively. He can do everything that Lively can do on the offensive end.
Let me ask you guys something.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys something. And I'm sorry if I cut you off because my lag is going crazy right now. It's super laggy. But I want to ask you guys, hindsight 2020, do you think we should have maybe punted some games to maybe not face the Denver Nuggets, or you still would have been on board with we're not going to lose games?
I think the basketball gods will screw you over if you do that.
Okay.
Rob? I'll die in my bed to think this.
Well, Dallas, it looks like they punted at the end of the season a couple games, but I'm a believer in you play and you got to beat the best to get to. And Denver was the team. So let's say
the general manager of the Dallas Mavericks should have won Executive of the Year.
Yeah, for that.
He really did the best job of anybody.
Trade deadline. Trey, but could the Lakers have gone through? Could they have beat Denver, Minnesota, and Dallas? Probably not.
A good coach, probably.
No, I think ultimately, if you're good enough to make it to the finals or win the championship, it doesn't matter who's in your way. You can't be scared of Denver.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, you really can. I mean, and Minnesota proved it that they're not invincible.
I think that it's easier to beat a team like Denver early in the playoffs than it is later.
Yeah.
So West is going to be tough, though. It's going to be it's going to be crazy.
If we thought this year there was parity, next year is going to be crazy.
Wow, man, oh man. Well, I think this is a good place for us to go ahead and start to wrap it up. I don't know if you guys have anything else you guys want to get into, man, but I think we, had a good solid hour and about like 20 minutes of let's just getting into really NBA talk, Lakers talk. I appreciate you, L. Rob and Lakers Tom, for making an appearance, making this a lot easier on me. I appreciate everybody in the chat, from Lakers All Day Dope to Pale Fox and Bloodhound, as always. Everybody, man, I appreciate you guys being in here, dropping chats. As for me, if you guys want to find some more of my content, what I got going on, please subscribe to my channels. I have 2 channels. I got Clutch Talk, which is an NBA talk show. It's on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and then also Lakers Corner. Lakers Tom, L. Rob, I don't know if you guys have anything you guys want to shout out, or anything you guys want to say at the end here, but the floor is yours, my brothers.
Just appreciate your hosting the show, John. You can find Lee and myself at Lakerholics.com. So we basically have a good crowd there. A lot of people from the old LA Lakers blog. Lots of controversy and just a lot of diehard Laker fans. And we invite everybody to please feel free to join us. And then other than that, we just I'm just hoping for JJ. I want to see that. That's what I think is the key first step that we really need to do to have a great off season.
Yes, sir.
And John, thank you for hosting. Great job. Always enjoy conversations with you. And of course, ALT, anytime I can be on a chat with him is good. Good enough. He's going to be proposing trades even in year round. So he's always got something up his sleeve. I'm just looking forward to a good finals as an NBA, as a basketball fan.
It'll be a good one.
I am really just interested to see if Tatum and Brown
ABC, anything
finally climb to the top of the mountain. They've been knocking on the door for several years, and you know what? It's not promised. Tomorrow is not promised. So this is their chance to really grab it. But that man that they got to beat, when the way Luka came out in that last game against Minnesota and took their heart, that's you know, it's something about playing in those, you know, playing in Europe and the smack talk and the vitriol you get from the fans. That, you know, those guys kind of thrive off of that here. So should be a great series.
Soccer punks, man. Bunch of soccer punks.
Yep. Looking forward to it. So
absolutely.
That's all I got.
Man, well, I appreciate you, Lakers Tom. Appreciate you, Rob. And appreciate everybody in the chat, man. As always, you guys stay up to date with all Lakers Fast Break. You guys just make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit that little bell so you guys get a notification every time Lakers Fast Break goes live. And shout out Gerald, man. Gerald is in Hawaii right now taking some much needed break because he's working hard for the channel all the time, man. Shout out everyone, you know, Lakers in 5. Everyone out here help support this channel be a great thing that it is. But for now, we're out of here, y'all, and looking forward to game 1 here on Thursday, June 6th. So we'll see you guys around then. So for now, we're out of here, y'all. Peace.